Previously on Talking Joe.
So Dawn uses her magic ninja skills to bash open the case with a fire axe and scarper off with it, where she runs into Storm Shadow in a back alley, and Storm Shadow seems to know exactly what is going on. A whole lot of stuff going on.
Although I've made notes, I've made about 2 sentences of notes. So not much to talk about from me, so there might be something from you, so let's dig into the nuggets.
Talking Joe is on the air, and here are your hosts, Chief and Mark.
Hey, we're back, all new Talking Joe, all new crew. Well, not all new, because Funky Bunch is still with us for his 3rd outing. It's episode 93, Talking Joe. I'm the Chief Doggy Dog, and I am joined by you. I've given you the introduction, but do it again for yourself, please.
Marky Mark and all of the Funky Bunch are here again for the 3rd time.
That's it. We're on a roll now, brother. We're on a roll. So, how you been?
Yeah, good. Been a busy week at work.
Okay.
So lots of late nights, burning the midnight oil, as it were.
Yes.
Yeah. So not so much fun, but yeah, still managing to fit in a few things here and there.
Good.
What about yourself? How's the week been? I saw from
Yes.
Chief's Toy Box that you've been down visiting Ben.
Yes, I was going to ride the motorbike down, 2.5 hours on a motorbike, but the forecast for the return journey in the evening was wet and wild and windy, and I did not fancy riding the motorbike in the blackness of night in those conditions, so I took the train down in the end and went round to the big Castle Ben, and we did some Skeletrix burn-ups. We also recorded the latest Toy Box episode with our man S. Jubbs, one of the best episodes we've done. Did you watch it?
Yeah, watched it last night. Yeah, good times.
Excellent. What else? I was thinking the other thing I started doing is, and we can maybe do this, we're obviously doing the Mando, the 10-minute Mando. So the first 2, we've done double episodes, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. We're actually going to run with 1 episode now each week, because that will then jump us straight into season 2 without any gap. We'll finish episode 8, and the next week will be season 2, episode 1. Once we come to the end of that, how do you feel about chucking in some Clone Wars rewatches? Have you got any interest in doing
why not?
that?
I'm still behind.
Okay.
I'm still behind on where you finished off on Out of Timers, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we could start like the start of season 4, or maybe the start of season 5. So that will give you plenty of time to catch up to that. So
I don't mind. We can pick up where you left off on Out of Timers or whatnot. I've got lots of catching up to do on that one. But yeah, all good stuff.
That's way down the line. This is first and foremost a G.I. Joe podcast, believe it or not. But we are actually going to go into some fiasco right now, and it's of the action figure variety. Action figures. We all love them. Action figures. Oh yeah. They bring us joy in our daily lives. Action figures. Yeah. Evoking memories from our childhood. But now we're grown and we just can't stop. Buying plastic till our wallets pop. When will it end? Who can say? 'Cause action figures are part of our DNA. Some people say maybe we've gone a little wacko, but action figures bring us joy like a rainbow. They are so hot like a splash of Tabasco. Now it's time for action figure fiasco. Now it's time for action figure fiasco. Okay, 2 more figures to talk about in the 6-inch scale. They are going to be the Cobra Commander Supreme Leader, or Supreme Snake, whatever he's called, and Dr. Doom from the Hasbro Marvel Legends line. So first of all, let's get this Cobra Commander out. Now this arrived from Comics and Cocktails 2 days ago, or no, yesterday in fact, I think. and this is the new one. Is there 3 now in the classified line? 3 Cobra Commanders?
I believe so. There's that one, and then there's 2 similar ones which are different shades of blue, a dark blue and a light blue.
Now, I have, and I believe you have as well, the Wave 2 one, the basic one. We've both got that on pre-order for Wave 2. That hasn't even arrived yet. I don't even know when that's due.
Who knows with these things?
Okay,
yeah.
But I have this exclusive one. I don't know where it's exclusive to, if it's a...
Is it Hasbro Pulse?
Right,
like
yeah,
that?
Hasbro PulseCon, yes.
And comes in a very ornate box as well.
Really, really nice cardboard 3D layered box. Now, when I ordered it, just because I was hyped up on Hasbro PulseCon energy, pre-ordered it, and then as I was looking at the pictures, I was like, do I really like it? Do I want it? When I get it, am I just going to sell it straight away? It arrived, I unboxed it, and holy jeepers, this is a great figure. He is going nowhere. He's this dark kind of, it is actually black. I thought it was dark blue. It's a very black, matted main colour scheme, but then he's got this ornate gold and red tinges to him, the belt. There's
a lot of details going on there, isn't there? And like the printed design on his chest and so on.
Yeah, it's incredible. He's got this scabbard with this ornate cobra hilted sword. He's got the pistol. He comes with a gold globe he can hold because he has an open hand. You can switch that out for a fist hand. The other one, he's got the grip hand for the gun, or like a scepter with the cobra head, or he's got a pointing finger you can switch that out for. And the cape is lovely. It's a cloth cape. One side is this real nice kind of cottony, and then the other side, I'll take some pictures, it's almost like a faux leather snake scale skin look.
And is it wired so that you can sort of manoeuvre it and fix it?
It's not wired cape, no.
Okay.
It's not a wired cape. It comes with 2 little elastic things to go around his shoulders, but then on those it's got these cobra gold buckles. Now, the paint app's on mine. He has got on his leg, there's a bit of gold spots where the paint app has gone a bit wrong, and there's another I saw on his face mask. There was a bit of kind of where the paint splash almost. So that's individual to this figure, I would imagine, and you know, it might not be in every single one, but this is a great figure, man.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I was very tempted, but I in the end I thought I'll just get one Cobra Commander, and I'll plump for a classic blue, which is, I think, the definitive colour for him.
Yeah, I've seen a few guys on Facebook actually who do make the custom head sculpts, so I'm going to get him to do me the custom Cobra Commander head sculpt with the hood.
And what I've also seen is people have been custom 3D printing the classic Cobra Commander gun. So your guy comes with the classic Cobra Commander gun in gold.
Okay. Yes.
But the regular Cobra Commander comes with a what I like to call ornate silver dildo version of the gun.
Okay. Yes. Very
which just doesn't do it for me, to be honest.
Right.
I'd love to have that classic gun.
Yes. I can't imagine I would have him holding a gun much, because how often, not that everything has to be comic accurate, or well, I don't know about the cartoon or anything, but how often in the comic is he holding a gun? Probably never.
Well, only really at the shooting gallery,
Yeah.
And even then he's tending to use something other than his toy accurate gun.
Yes. But anyway, let's move on. He's a great figure. Let's move on to Dr. Doom. Now, this is a Marvel Legends Hasbro figure, and this one it's quite newish. It's kind of got the traditional big belt with the big belt buckle, the gold clasped cape. Now, it is a stiff cape. It's not a cloth cape, but that's pretty par for the course with these $20 figures, and it's fine. You're not going to be manoeuvring him round into poses that Spider-Man's going to doing, where you would need more of a flowing cape. He's going to be standing, gesturing, and he's got this open hand, kind of like the Cobra Commander one that could hold a globe. And in fact, the globe will fit in his hand, which is kind of nice. Then he comes with a gripping hand for I think it's a Luger that he's got in a pouch on his holster on his belt.
That could even work on Cobra Commander. He tends to use those in his shooting galleries, doesn't he? Quite often.
That could work. Swap that over. And then he comes with a couple of fist hands as well. But I don't think he's got... looking underneath here, it's got kind of a chainmail look under there, but he's got the hard plastic skirt, which means he can't really sit down if you do get a throne for him. But again, not the kind of character. He's going to be just kind of standing in the neutral pose, intimidating people. And he does come with a swap of heads, so you get the kind of new style head, but then you also get the old Doombot style face mask. But good scale-wise, kind of a tiny bit bigger than some of the other ones, represented by the fact that he's a man in armour, but a good classic look. So a couple of nice authority figures there, bad guys. So yeah, really pleased with that purchase.
Growing out the legions.
Yes, exactly. You can get a new version is coming out of him, same sculpt, but he does come with cloth skirt, maybe a cloth cape, and it's I'll put some pictures up on the social media, but it is a very different look, and he comes with like some arcane books or sorcery manuals, and I think he comes with some effects that you can plug into his hand or things like that, so sort of magic effects.
Oh yes, yeah, very good.
A couple of really nice figures there, and next week we'll have another G.I. Joe figure in that, and then I'll pad it out with a Black Series Star Wars or a Marvel Legends. But I'm really enjoying this 6-figure addiction, although my bank account is not.
Oh, can I ask a question while we're talking toys as well? So you've gone very much for the 6-figure lines.
6-inch, yep.
Sorry, 6-inch lines in your new collecting.
Yes.
Is there any temptation to sort of go back to the well for any of those 3 3/4 inches?
That is a great question, and this could even be a listener question at some point down the line. But I had a big chat with Ben about this, because when I was selling some of my figures on eBay, I'm talking about the vintage Joes, and doing these toy box videos, it got me thinking, I really miss Ripcord. He was one of my favourites, and so I started looking at prices online to buy an old Ripcord, and then we both kind of came to the same conclusion that with vintage stuff that you once owned, I kind of went the other way, and I started thinking, I don't want to buy that because it's not mine. I wouldn't have, even though it's that same figure, I wouldn't have the same nostalgic feels for it because it's not mine. It's a replacement for something I had, so I'm not actually going to go back and buy any old figures I had, because the feeling just isn't the same.
Yeah. Sort of holding on to the one that you played with as a child versus
it's just a bit weird, I think.
Interesting. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that, because with this 6-inch stuff, I've never had any of it, so it's fine. Even if I go and get the new retro Joe line in 3 3/4 inch, that would be fine because I've never had any, so I didn't have any prior attachment to them. Although I'm not going to go and get those because I think I've plumped for the 6-inch line. But yeah, good question. I do still want that Ripcord though, but I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's a good figure. Top
anyway.
Again, I keep on saying this, but top 10 for me. Yeah,
he's great, isn't he?
Top
He's so good.
Great figure.
Yeah, great accessories. Good stuff. More action figure fiasco next week. But now let's get into the meat and potatoes, because it's time for Comic Talk. Comic Talk. Oh, Comic Talk. Barry Hammer writes them. Chief and Mark discuss them. Whoa. Comic Talk. Oh, Comic Talk. Larry Hammer writes them, Chief and Mark discuss them, whoa. Okay, Comic Talk, and we always kick it off with this.
Favourite cover.
Right, so we are actually covering 4 issues this week. We didn't spell it out for the listeners in advance, but there are 3 issues back-ending, closing out this snake in the grass. But in fact, the next one also does tail off some of these plot points and conclude some. So we are going to include 4 issues here, 336 to 333 to 336.
236 there, closing out.
233.
That's what I said.
236. I don't know what's going on.
236 is part 7 of the 6-issue arc.
Yes. So we've got the standard cover and the John Royal now subscription cover for each of these. So you've got 8 to choose from. What's your favourite then?
So yeah, the actual standard regular covers by S.L. Gallant didn't do a huge amount for me this time really. I thought they do talk to the contents of the stories going on, but they felt like they were probably a little bit rushed, a little bit rough around the edges, and not doing a huge amount for me this time. Though generally I do like his covers a lot.
And interestingly, just to cut you off there, it's something that's literally come to me now as you were saying that. We've previously seen a lot of times where Larry was doing the retailer incentive cover, which then S.L. Gallant was working off, and a lot of the times making a few minor changes, but we don't seem to have those Larry covers anymore. So maybe, I'm not saying, look, Shannon's a fantastic artist, and for me, once you go outside of that first kind of 70 issues, he is the G.I. Joe artist for me. Mm-hmm. But maybe he preferred to kind of go off of Larry's prelims to a certain degree, and now he's kind of doing his own thing. I don't know, but like you, yes, I agree. I think the John Royal covers were a bit more interesting. But
I'd
carry
say
on.
back in the day that Larry did do the layouts for most of the covers, even when they weren't being done as variant covers. So
right.
Mike Zeck, for example, often worked from a Larry sketch.
Right.
So it's entirely feasible that he might still be doing some layouts and ideas and giving them to Shannon. But don't know that for sure. But yeah, I think it's entirely likely. It's entirely possible that Shannon is just doing these completely off a blank piece of paper from scratch. And yeah, Larry has got a great sense of design when it comes to these covers. So if he stopped doing that, then yeah, possibly some of that slightly the way that Larry's mind works with these cover designs is missing as part of the puzzle.
Okay, so where are you plumping? Where's your cash going?
I am plumping for issue 233 subscription cover by John Royal.
Whoa! Funky Bunch and the Chief Dog. Fully aligned.
Snap time.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great cover. It's Snow Job on a skidoo being with, I'm guessing, Scarlet behind him, being chased by snow serpents.
I don't know. I was gonna say Cover Girl just because of the jacket, although
yeah.
I don't know. There was snow gear, isn't it? So it could be
exactly.
Either or.
Yeah. I think it's just the long red hair is what tipped it over to me thinking it's Scarlet, but yeah, the jacket kind of suggests Cover Girl. So
yeah, I love any kind of snow-based action. I love snow serpents, and like to see these characters we haven't seen much of recently. Snow Job, so. Good action stuff there. Can
we have this cover as the contents of the story, please, instead of what we've got? That looks like a good story.
That looks like a great story. Good stuff. We are fully aligned there. Yeah, I like it. So let's get into the insides. So, last time on A Real American Hero, Dawn Moreno stole the Arashikage sword Morning Light, but Storm Shadow soon finds her. Deep Six and Cutter's fight against Cobra's battle android troopers in Broca Beach comes to an end. Bombstrike, momentarily presumed dead by the Black Major, is found out in the desert by two scavengers who help her along. And Claire manages to save Fowd in Benzine, only to find themselves both surrounded by the Juggler's damage control team. Duke and Roadblock arrive just in time, but can they extract everyone from this tricky situation? Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out indeed. So we've got 5 subplots going through these 4 issues. So much like last time, there's a lot going on and zipping around and changing between them. So
plot breakdown.
We start off in Benzine, where the Jugglers have found Duke, Roadblock and Claire surrounded as they attempt to shoot Fowd while he is, in inverted commas, resisting capture. The Jugglers' crew is led by the wheelchair-bound and thoroughly nasty General Thurston Crowther. The Joes make off with Claire and Fowd in their Rent-A-Wreck. Claire reveals she only pretended to be brainwashed by Fowd, and she helped the Ultra Black Special Ops Agency and didn't realise it was the Jugglers until it was too late. And while they get escaping, they're chased by the female assassin. They are tipped off to her following them by the fact that she's a woman driver in an Islamic country. Fowd is shot as he takes the bullets that were meant for Claire. A grenade is thrown into the car, and with no safe place to dispose of it, Roadblock gets rid of it safely with the Kevlar-plated door. And that brings that subplot to a conclusion as things aren't nicely wrapped up. But Chief, what's happening over in Oliestan with Bombstrike?
Yep, okay, over there, basically we've seen her go in there to infiltrate the Revanche Corporation or whatever that secret facility was. Black Major's been put in charge of the bats, and this subplot is effectively just her carrying on her escape and extraction in the desert there, and she has some help from this girl. So would you say she's a girl or kind of a young lady? They
describe her as like scavenger.
Yeah, some scavenger called Layla, and along the way we get some nice cameos from some other characters along the Red Shadow line, which is nice. And yeah, then in the end some Joes come along to help out in the All Striker, which is cool. We get a nice little vehicle showdown and battle, but that kind of wraps up that stuff in Oliestan.
Very good. Elsewhere in the East Village in New York, Dawn is introduced to Demon Granny by Storm Shadow, and it's decided that she will help her in her shop while she's being trained. she reveals a mysterious scar on Granny's arm, a little bit of mystery behind the story, which she's told to shush up about. Later, when the shop is robbed, the robber is disarmed in a scene reminiscent of the Softmaster and the Snake Eyes origin issues. But when things go wrong when the boy runs away and is shot by a policeman while he's escaping. The robber wanted the money to pay for his sick sister's medical bills, so Dawn and Granny rock up to the hospital and pay for the treatment in the form of a kilo ingot of gold.
Yep, there you go. Over in Springfield, there's a couple of things going down. The hoi polloi, the hierarchy of the Cobra World Order, they're squabbling as you would expect from these types of people who all want to be in charge. And with Dawn on the loose, Zartan's like, we got to quash this before she becomes a major league problem. So he goes out there to, do the do or put her out of her misery, so to speak. And then also you've got the Collins family who have been they're kind of on the run now, aren't they? So they're in hiding
in plain sight.
Hiding in plain sight, yeah. And they've got an idea to maybe we'll talk about this in the talking points when we break it down. But they've gone to some municipal records place to do something. I'm not really too sure what they're going to do, but that sort of stuff plays out there. So yeah.
We see a lot of Heather Collins there as a bit of a whiz kid on the computers.
You got it. Larry actually starts up a new plot as well, doesn't he?
That's right. We, as you'd expect, in issue 6 of the sub of this arc, a brand new story starts. So, in the land of a million elephants, Zap, Stalker, and Storm Shadow investigate an abandoned, overgrown temple, and they're on the money trail for Cobra. And this is where it's led. It's the location of Red Laser's lab. They scrap with the latest quad model Blue Ninjas version of the robot with a shared consciousness that learns from its mistakes so it won't make them again, before eventually getting to the end of level boss baddie, which they take out with a giant GBU bomb, which is a real world bomb with GPS targeting.
Okay, let's dig in a little bit deeper.
Talking points.
Right, so let's just take each subplot as they come. So the benzene one, are you happy how it all concluded? My notes, I've only got one thing here, and that you alluded to it, and this was where Roadblock kind of defuses a grenade, and this seems to happen a lot in comic books and other forms of media, in that the fuse on that grenade was about 1 million seconds long, because it's been thrown into the cab, he's got it out, he's run around, he's put it under a door, he's looking around. It must be about 10 seconds before that thing's gone off.
Exactly. Do you remember that bit from Batman the movie with Adam West where he's running
on the dock?
A bomb? Sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Incredible. Yeah. Love that movie. But,
and did you notice the callback to that little sequence where Roadblock jumps on top of the bomb as it explodes? Yeah, a callback to issue 29, Beached Whale, where Tripwire covers the grenade, but Roadblock in that circumstance actually pulls him off it and chucks the grenade away and explodes harmlessly.
Yeah, he chucks it up the pipe, doesn't he? Up the,
that's right.
Whatever it is, the air duct pipe thing. Yeah, very cool, very cool. But yeah, I don't know. How do you feel overall about that benzene stuff and the Claire stuff? Does it wrap up nicely for you, or?
It was a bit of a random plot to me. It wasn't my favourite, but it seems like it's kind of been pretty much tied up now.
Yeah, I think the potential there initially when they reintroduce Claire, and you're like, oh, is she a sleeper agent? That had me all interested, but where it went, I don't know. It was just like, meh. Fine, whatever, it's done, move on.
I think if they'd just played a slightly longer game with that arc and sort of alluded to, what's going on with Claire over, spread it out a little bit more before they get back out into benzene, then maybe it would have been a bit more intriguing. It felt like it maybe was just flew all, too much was crammed into a short space, perhaps.
Bombstrike's still getting a lot of action, so I know you mentioned that I wasn't really aware of that she had that one issue appearance elsewhere before this, but she's been in these issues for quite a while now. This is a good long arc for her.
Absolutely, yeah, and she's we had her as an MVP. She's got some serious skills going on there in terms of taking out those Cobras and Red Shadows.
Although. Does this arc actually seem like a lot of throwbacks? Because you talked about the Roadblock one, which I'd forgotten about at the time, so good job there. But here, she's kind of tied to the front of a hiss, which was quite reminiscent
Yeah.
of Baroness in the Cobra Civil War one.
Exactly, yeah. It's not the first time we've seen someone tied to the front of a hiss, yeah. And I when I was looking at this sequence, I had the thought, if Bombstrike was in the X-Men, and going by her skill set, she could quite easily be, that if she had her mutant power, it would possibly be turning the tables, just the number of times in this arc that she's been up against it and then just somehow, flip reversed it, back in control, too many to count. Probably close to 10 by this point.
Yes. Yeah, she's got skills. But nice to see the Robo Skull popping up again for a few panels.
Yeah, always good to see that. There's a lovely bit, a silhouette where it appears, and the silhouette is down on as a shadow on the ground, and there's gaps in the shadow where its eyes are, which
I'm looking at that now.
Isn't, I guess, scientifically possible, but does make for a nice little artistic effect.
Nice shadow, yeah, I see what you mean now. Yeah, very good, very good.
In that sequence, that very end sequence as well, where they're facing against the 3 Cobra vehicles and take them down.
Yes.
What struck me was how Bombstrike was able to take out the blue ninja who was driving the Hiss 4 by shooting down at the front canopy from its own turret, which strikes me as a bit of a design flaw. You could blow up the front of your own tank with the cannon, the mounted cannon. But
so that can elevate down very well. But I remember, what's that one, issue 80, I think it is, where the Rolling Thunder and is it maggots? They're trying to fire to the top, but they can't because they can't elevate high enough.
They can't elevate. That's
Whereas
right.
this one can. This gun elevates down too much.
Yeah, delevates.
Delevates. Yeah. Now, what is this vehicle? I wasn't familiar with this other bad guy vehicle.
That was
the Ringneck.
The Ringneck. That's right.
Never heard of it.
That was released slightly further on in the period, and I guess didn't get much airtime in the original run. Possibly none. I can't recall it being used, but you never know. But it's a bit of a clunky looking design. It's not especially pretty, so I think it's one of those vehicles where you wouldn't necessarily want to use it unless you had to, given the choices of the other alternative Cobra vehicles that could be used. And who knows, it might have just have been that Larry was gifted one and he had it in front of him and he thought, why not just stick this one in the story?
Okay, I'm pretty sure this Layla character is going to show up again. She also had some significant page time helping out Bombstrike along the way and even doing some good damage. So
a lot of
I know Larry likes to reuse some of these characters when they're long thought forgotten. So I think she might crop up again in 20, 30, 40 issues time.
Yeah, just like the kid who helped Dusty and Mainframe back in the day, and then a good 50 or so issues came back to help out the Joes. Probably even longer than that.
Yeah. That's a good issue actually. I can't remember what that was. Is that Special Missions? No.
That was the regular series. I can't recall the issue number off the top
I know
of
the
my
one you
head.
mean. He was all about Dusty being the main man because he's a fighter.
That's right.
But then it works out that Mainframe was the one who got the job done for the mission.
And not the old woman he initially called him or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think it was called Rashid.
Rashid, that's it. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that issue. But yeah, good. Good action over there. Where are we going next? So I guess
I was thinking about just the art, and it struck me that while it's a very competent job, gets the job done in parts, it looked like possibly might have been a bit rushed. Probably a bit of a speedy job to try and get those pages cranked out in time for the deadline. So. Yeah, a little less of the polish than possibly some of the other issues that we've seen.
I noticed when we went into issue 236, the inking, and it's still Brian Shearer, but it just looks a little bit lighter on the blacks, on the black inking. Does that make sense?
Less of the thick lines. It's quite a light touch to them, like he's using a thinner micron or something like that. So possibly just trying to get through the pages, get them done.
How do you feel this Dawn stuff is motoring along?
Well, yeah, it's okay. They're sort of moving it along. She's now with Granny, isn't she? Yeah. And
we
she's got her training lined up.
Yeah, and we kind of get the third almost callback as well. Like you mentioned again, the issue 26, where the guy comes in to rob the Softmaster, and he ends up kind of buying the gun off him and sending the guy on his way. You get a similar thing here, but it's fleshed out even more because there's repercussions for the guy's actions.
Exactly, and I think Dawn even sort of mentions it, sort of recalling Snake Eyes' memories of saying, literally that what she was trying to do was to kind of mimic what the Softmaster did and what Snake Eyes' memories had seen him doing. Obviously, it didn't quite work out in the way that was intended, and in a way which led to a hammerism, which was where Felipe the robber was being treated by the ambulance after he had been shot, and they say, "It's a sucking chest wound, but we got it plugged up in time."
Yeah, do we get 2 of those? In fact, I think we get 2. There's another. I've got sucking chest wound ×2 written down here.
Stop! Hammer time! The other one that I saw was when Bombstrike was fighting with the Black Major, and she said, "You're going to do what? Go all up inside the soles of my boots with your face?"
That's it, yeah.
Which is, I think,
beat yourself around the soles, whatever it was.
Yeah. So that was something I think that Doc originally might have spoken to in all the way back in the early issues when he first encountered Destro.
And there's another one that Larry has started using with increasing regularity, and it's just the simple word togs.
Togs, lovely.
He loves, you got some new battle togs, and then other variations of togs, but he uses that pretty much once an issue now as well.
Okay, well, we're talking about new togs. Maybe we should do some fashion talk?
Okay, yeah, do it. Armani, Prada, Versace too. Joe's changed their outfits from black to blue. Duke and Hawk, look but don't gawk. Changing their kit, whoa, is that legit? Swapping camo jackets, headgear and boots. It's now neon colours and funky spacesuits. Sci-fi stalker and even Roadblock. While Bill, Flint and Mutt gave me a shock. So go take a walk if clothes aren't your passion, because it's comic book talk and lovely G.I. Joe fashion.
So, did you pick up the jungle camo storms? Did you pick up the jungle camo Storm Shadow?
Yes, yeah. Very interesting.
Over in the Land of a Million Elephants. That was, an interesting design. I had to go back and look on yojo.com to see is that a design that's been used in a toy, and it doesn't look like it. So it's like that sort of green jungle camo with the white face, and I liked it. I thought that was a nice little touch and a nice new design, and a sort of specific to what they're doing, which is a sort of a jungle incursion as well. What do you think?
Yeah, it's good. I like that look. It's a good look for him. It's nice to get him out of the full ninja outfit once in a while, but he still retains some of that, with the headpiece, etc., which is nice. But this plot line here, this Land of a Million Elephants, it just feels like. And again, this will weigh in probably on our Yo Joeage at the end, but it just feels like there's just so many Joe units or teams going around just doing recon on Revanche and, the Blue Ninjas and all this. It just seems to be an overused plot point at the moment. And here we get it again. They're in a new secret locale, which they managed to discover, and it turns out that here's the red laser, and you thought you got rid of the core Blue Ninjas, but no, they're back again, but now it's a quad Blue Ninja or some rubbish
and
like
not too different actually to Cutter and his crew going into scope out a site, finding the new bats, or indeed Bombstrike going to the site and finding new bats as well. So it's a bit of a third repetition of a similar idea within the same arc. So we could probably have lived without it, or at least lived without it during this particular
and I'll tell you
arc.
exactly what's going to happen. Ace in the Sky Striker drops a bomb down on this. What's the thing called?
The name of the bomb, it was...
No, not the bomb, the new Blue Ninja thing. Has it got a name?
Oh, hold on. What was that called? So the new Blue Ninja was the latest quad model Blue Ninja, so a robot with shared consciousness that learns from its mistakes so it doesn't make them again.
Yeah, that's it. But anyway, this guy basically gets a big bomb in the chest and then blows up. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. All that's going to happen is we're going to get Blue Ninja Mark V next time.
Yeah, so... and that ninja will remember it's learned from its mistakes.
He won't get trapped with a bomb.
Don't get blown up with a bomb. Just
in
basic
the Land of a Million Elephants,
rookie error. Don't get blown up by a massive bomb.
But that kind of, they escape with Red Laser at the end. So that plot point seems to have been just to capture Red Laser.
Yeah, so presumably something will happen in the future with the Red Laser as their prisoner. You'd hope.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, no continuation of the Cutter story from Broker Beach.
No,
so
that's ended.
That was done. That was They went in, got everything blown up, flew off again in the whale.
Yes. One thing here, looking at the Cobra hierarchy and stuff, and especially Zartan. Zartan is, interestingly, I think Steve touched on this a couple of times when he was on the pod about Zartan in his file card, and I don't know what the actual the lines are, but it's something about him being like a paranoid schizophrenic or having some kind of, mental disorder or condition. And it's never really been touched on, but we're kind of, I don't know if it's inadvertently Larry's putting it in here, but he's been flip-flopping a lot lately between kind of helping the good guys, but now he's saying he's going to go and kill Dawn, and then later on he's going to help Dawn, and we are kind of seeing it. It's not really come to the fore before in the comics, but it definitely feels like he is jumping all over the shop. Now, whether that's a deficiency in Larry's writing or he's done it on purpose, I don't know.
Well, maybe when we get to those issues, we can discuss it in a bit more detail. But yeah, he's certainly sort of flip-flopping in terms of his loyalty. That if he's doing something that is endorsed by Cobra Commander, he shouldn't have to sneak around to access those information. So he's clearly going a little bit rogue, and doing his own thing.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think I've read ahead, so maybe I'm referencing stuff to come. So, but yeah, I find it quite interesting because he is a fascinating character, and I think there's more stories to tell with his background and with his kind of personality and motives and stuff. We've seen a lot, but I think there's more to come.
Slightly different set of motivations in the way that he's being torn in different directions.
Yeah. You also mentioned that we see quite a lot of Heather Collins.
That's right. Yeah, she's I guess been around for a long time, but never quite as much airtime as she's had in these last few issues.
Yes, and maybe I thought I didn't have any, but maybe I do need some help.
Am I stupid?
Because I'm not too sure. She's gone down to some place to hack in somewhere and get some kind of information, and that's when Zartan kind of confronts her. But what was her plan? What was the Collins plan there?
So they'd gone back to Springfield to try and get payback for what happened with Sean Collins, and so they hatched a plan to break into the municipal records for reasons.
Right, okay.
I don't think it's entirely clear why they've gone in there, but it's something to do with the information held there and potentially held on the brainwave scanner.
Right.
Motivation's not entirely clear, but hopefully we'll find out. Maybe we won't, but there we go. What I found interesting about that segment was that Zartan instantly recognised Heather, despite never meeting her before, as far as I'm aware, and her being about 10 years older than the last time that she appeared in the story. But there we go. Zartan's got some skills.
Yeah, that's G.I. Joe bullshit. No, that's just straight up front comic bullshit.
Something else I noticed about these stories was that Roadblock's Marjuice isn't very effective in close quarter combat, is it? maybe it's not always the best weapon to use in absolutely every circumstance.
He's got a wide spread on that. It's
if you're trying to poke it out the side of a car or whatnot, it's a little bit tricksy.
Yes. He needs to rethink that, but yes, Roadblock with a new weapon. I don't know. Fanboys will be up in arms.
Exactly. What, him with a pistol? The other thing I noticed about these issues is that there's quite a lot of information conveyed in the letter pages. Did you notice that?
I didn't even bother reading the letter pages.
Oh. So it was definitively confirmed that the giant eye that we saw in the previous issues was indeed a setup for a crossover with Transformers.
Got it.
Larry confirmed that the Red Shadows worked their way into the book following a visit to the UK for roll call and meeting the organiser, Dave Tree, and him being gifted the toys. And Larry said that he often works with the toys that are right in front of him so that he's got them as a constant reference and he knows who's in play and where they are and so on.
Got it.
So actually playing with the toys helps him with his storytelling.
Right. Okay.
And he also said that he was originally bothered by the fact that the only Asian in the story was a baddie, and so that was the reason that Storm Shadow had his redemptive arc. So yeah, a lot of interesting things happening in the letters pages.
Good stuff. Was there any little nuggets put in by Shannon, do you think?
I spy with my little eye.
I noticed a couple of little things that just kind of tickled me. When Baroness is going to try and find Mindbender, because Zartan's impersonating Mindbender when Heather's down there getting the stuff that she's getting from the computers, and Baroness catches them, and she's like, I'll go and see Mindbender straight away, whatever. And she goes to his dental office, and which is what's the name of the dental office? I had it.
Teeth Straightener Dentistry.
That's it. And next to it, there's a shop called Monocles Unlimited.
No. There's no glasses.
Yeah,
only monocles.
And there's also in the East Village, there's a sign outside the shop which says 50% off Pidgeymon and Chuju figures. Now I'm guessing Pidgeymon is a Pokemon. But
right.
Choju figures, I don't know if that is a reference to something or not.
Kaiju? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, in terms of the little Easter eggs that Shannon had put in, there was, I think we can probably say that he's responsible for all of the little toys that were dotted about in Granny's shop across the rows as well. So lots of, for the fans of those sort of Japanese robot toys and whatnot. That,
well, there's probably a can Mark name the toys next week, because I've just looked at the cover. There's a few on the cover of 237.
Okay, I think I'll have some homework then.
There you go. Can you name them without doing any research?
Oh dear, yeah, okay, I'll be really on the spot. I don't think that's my strong suit. Another little Easter egg nugget I noticed was the name checks for Prupistan, Rudetistan, and the Bozigian River.
Okay.
So do any of those mean anything to you, Chief?
No, they've obviously been referenced in the comics before.
Yeah, so I think it's not necessarily the first time that they've cropped up.
Right.
But maybe not commented on the pod. So Prupistan, the first of those, that is a reference to Bob Prupis, who established the boys' toy division at Hasbro and became vice president. So he's the person most directly responsible for the reintroduction of G.I. Joe as a 3 3/4 inch product in 1982.
Yep.
And also Transformers. The next one, Rudestan, that is a reference to Ron Rudat, who was the main figure designer behind G.I. Joe from 1982 until 1986. So a lot of the characters that we know, the look of them is very much down to him. He designed vehicles, decals, books, and even the Cobra logo. And the character of Leatherneck was based on his look.
Very good.
And the third one of those is a reference to Kurt Bazigian, who was a very influential contributor to G.I. Joe at Hasbro, and he worked on the brand since before its launch in 1982, and he served on and off through until 1994. And the character of Law is based on him. Right,
yeah, I knew that one, but I didn't know some of the background details there. Good stuff, good info from Funky Bunch there. 4 issues covered, which means there's been a lot of words written.
Favourite line of dialogue.
So, anything jump out at you here?
Yeah, some nice dialogue, sort of around some quite snappy things. Muton came up with some nice little classics there as well. But the one that I'm going for is Fouled. So it's I think Hammer sort of making a little bit of an editorial comment here and putting his thoughts in the sort of mouth of the closest person. So it was Fouled was talking about not using the children in the hospital that he's working at as a shield, but he was just simply acting as their doctor, and everything doesn't have to be black and white, goody and baddie. And he says, the complexities of moral imperatives are no simpler to sort out in hindsight than they are in the moment. One person's righteousness is another person's mortal sin, and so the circle of violence continues. It is a quandary. And then he gets shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
what
you say,
about you? What do you like?
Larry's not shy of putting in, political-based statements and moral-based, conundrums and things like that. So good stuff there. My favourite one is actually from Muton, He has bust through a door, and he has said, Muton's directive is to sanitize this site. Resistance is futile. Accept your fate.
Very good.
Yes. Good stuff. That leads nicely into this. Who is the MVP? Most valuable person in these issues. Who is the MVP? Is it a Cobra Joe or the enemy? The good guys are the Joes now show counter-terrorist force, but hush, it's on the down low. Pages of this book, go have a look. We're searching for guys or gals that have the hook. The hook of being the best thing in the story, chomping up scenes, front and center allegory. And let's not forget about those cats named Cobra, sipping Dom Perignon. Are you sure they're sober? Brainwave Scanner is back, gonna be messing. Big CC and Destro teach a lesson. Talking valuable, can we talk the dreadnoughts, grape soda, chocolate donuts, and then the jukebox? Who is the MVP? Most valuable person in these issues. Who is the MVP? Is it a Cobra Joe or the enemy? Okay, I'm going first, and it is. I struggled here to pick out someone that I thought, oh, that's bang on, that's done it, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be Muton. He only appears in a couple of pages, but he busts through this door with a big thram as all the parts of the door shatter. His two hands are up, kind of Magneto style. He delivers that line of dialogue, which I just mentioned, and then cut forward to a few pages, and he actually gets mashed up, torn in half by some laser whip. Oh no, he's about to stomp a boot onto Layla. She's got this laser whip thing, and then cuts him in half. But while he's doing all that of smashdowns and dying, I thought he was fantastic, well depicted, and mainly got the MVP because I struggled to pick out anyone else that I liked.
Well, you see, my MVP is the person that beat down on your MVP.
Oh, Layla.
So is clearly the winner there. So yeah, Layla. So a secondary character introduced, not in the G.I. Joes or Cobras. Doesn't have a toy, but one of these great secondary characters that Hammer likes to introduce along the way. And yeah, sort of just coming from a sort of scavenger that Bombstrike just happens to meet. She takes Bombstrike's heroism as a nice bit of inspiration and decides to sort of follow her on her hero's journey, sort of taking down villains here and there with lightsabers, blowing up all sorts of stuff, and sort of ending it with a kind of a sort of dedication to sort of living her life in a different way and seeing what she can do to help her country.
Yep. Very good. So Yo Joage here. We might as well Yo Joe this whole arc 230 to 236 or whatever it was.
230
to 236. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. No, because that. Yeah. No, you're right.
Yep.
230 to 236.
Okay.
Why not?
What are you coming in with here then?
So I think I've been going in sort of with a 7 each time, and maybe a very high 6, 7. I think we're seeing much the same of the what we've seen before in this arc. I like the way that they've been zipping around all of these multiple subplots and sort of carrying it through with quite a lot of pace and variety in what they've been doing. Very competent art throughout. Yep. And some of it has gelled with me a little less well, so perhaps some of the Claire sub arc has been less of my favourite, but there's definitely been more good than bad for me. So I'll go in with that.
Going with a high 6. Chief is coming in with just a bog standard 6. I think over these 7 issues there was almost too many subplots from the point of I think some of them felt a little bit underdeveloped. And like you said with the Cutter one, that just kind of ended. I'd like to have seen a bit more there, and maybe some of the other ones. But yeah, I don't want to say I'm getting to the position S-Jubs was in, but I'm struggling to see where the high points are going to come from, especially when they start ramming Dawn down our throats even more. but we shall see. So it's a 6 Yojo Colas from the Chief. Next week, I think we're going to cover... We've got a 5-issue story arc coming up. We'll break that down into 2 parts. So maybe we'll do 237 and 238 next week.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Yeah.
And then round up the next 3 issues the week after.
Nice stuff.
Yep, good stuff. But after talking comics, we always need to talk toys. Mark talks about toys, ho ho. He talks about G.I. Joe. He talks about all the toys from the comic book and the animated show. Mark talks about toys. Mark talks about toys. What you got for us this week? Oh no, I need to guess, don't I?
Okay, you have a guess. Why not?
Muton.
Let's do it. That would be, almost went for Muton.
Didn't.
I didn't in the end.
Man, that Storm Shadow, the Jungle Storm Shadow.
Well, he's not a toy, so...
Oh, yes, of course, which you've told me about that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what else? I don't know. You have to put me on my misery.
So this is probably a kind of cheat, because I think it has been featured on Talking Toys already, but...
Okay.
Why not?
We're all new.
Said
We do what we want.
All
We're
new, all new, all different, and I shall not be silenced.
All different, sometimes the same.
All different, except when it's the same. I've gone for the Striker, which I think S-Jubs might have talked about, but so I'm not going to go into loads and loads of detail. It was, the vehicle of choice for Alpine, Zap, and Tunnel Rat on their mission. The cover vehicle on 235. And actually timely, because it's just seeing a release as the in the new retro line.
Yes. Have you got that pre-ordered?
I've got it pre-ordered, and I understand it's on its way.
Okay,
so I think the first set of vehicles, the Hiss and the Striker, are now hitting the streets. So
is that the same mould? Is it the same mould as the original one?
I've not had a chance to look at it in too much detail, but it's near as damn it exact. So the original came out, and they have used the mould a few times since, but I think in a lot of the reuses they've pared down on some of the finer details, just to make it, I guess, cheaper to produce and maybe a bit more durable, getting rid of some of the moving parts. But it came out in that initial Hasbro wave in the UK with Crankcase, the driver, obviously, may he rest in peace. And it's just a lovely looking design, and so much playability to it. From the front, it's got the bumper with the headlights on it, working way back. It's got this roll cage. It's got room to stick your Joes in as passengers on the sides and potentially on the back. It's got a removable engine, which is just such a nice play feature. And when I was playing, I'd often sort of take out the engine, stick a Joe in there, sort of physics be damned. It's just another place to put a character as a bit of storage. And a really lovely touch is the suspension that they had on it, so it's sort of bumping up and down as you should play with it. So it was a real favourite of me, sort of the go-to land vehicle for.
I was going to say, what's interesting to me is like you just said there, the kind of the playtime stuff. So for me also, I had it, and it was the kind of go-to vehicle. I think mainly because it was fairly cheap, because it was not the smallest one, but obviously not the biggest vehicle, but a kind of a good-sized medium vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was fairly cheap, but had a lot going for it. So it had that suspension, which made you kind of want to drive it over rough terrain, and the minimalist kind of cage design meant you could kind of see in, and it felt like, I don't know, I had a radio controlled car which was quite kind of similar in its look, so I kind of simulated that when I was using the radio controlled car as if it was the Striker. But great design, and it was definitely my go-to vehicle as well.
And also I sort of had a leaning towards the slightly more real world design as well.
Yep.
So it's a very believable sort of desert vehicle or whatnot that you could see being used in a real world environment, actually existing, rather than maybe a bit more of a fantastical vehicle. Did
you have anyone else ever drive it other than Crankcase?
Yeah, I wasn't too wedded to the drivers. It would be sort of the story that was playing out. Pretty much in my toy playing canon. Yep. Most vehicles could be piloted or driven by most people. I was definitely not one of someone that was wedded to only having the dedicated vehicle driver being the person to drive it.
Very good. Great vehicle. Did your suspension survive? Or I'm trying to think if mine snapped, or was it snappable? How sturdy was it?
It seemed pretty sturdy. Mine didn't break as far as I can remember. I've had the Stinger vehicle, which has lost wheels and the steering wheel and that kind of thing. But I don't recall this breaking. And also the Thunder Machine as well, I think is got fairly fragile wheels as well, and those broke off. But I pretty much remember this one staying intact.
All right, good stuff. Always happy to talk about the Ore Striker, one of the Chief's childhood faves, and yours by the sound of it. But there'll be more toys next week. But now...
You're listening to Talking Joe, and now for something completely different.
The Star Wars galaxy sure has a lot of playgrounds. Jedi Knights, evil Sith, bounty hunters, all doing the rounds. But there's a guy so cool, the Mandalorian. Now expand your mind and be a Star Wars historian. It's 10-Minute Mando, he's chasing a star. It's 10-Minute Mando, he loves Beskar. It's 10-Minute Mando in a galaxy far, far away. Okay, that's right, it's back. The segment you never knew you needed until now. I'm starting the clock. Go. 10 minutes on the clock. If you don't know what this is, if you're jumping in, this is the first episode of Talking Joe. We have 10 minutes to talk about an episode of The Mandalorian from Disney, and we are talking about episode 5, I hope, today. Is that right?
Yeah. The Gunslinger, directed by Dave Filoni.
Yes. And written by him as well.
And
what a stinker it is.
So this is the first episode that isn't written by Favreau.
Yes.
So written by Dave Filoni, the showrunner of the Clone Wars. And I take it you're a fan of this one then?
Yeah, I like Filoni stuff on Clone Wars, and I think some of the episodes he scripted there have been good. But this one suffers from two major problems, and the two major problems are this young kid bounty hunter is the worst thing that has happened to the Mandalorian so far, because he cannot act. Has he ever had an acting job in his life before this? Don't know, don't think so.
He doesn't have too many big credits to his name as far as I can see, although he comes from a long lineage of other acting family.
But he's not helped by the lines he is being given to deliver, which are not good.
What did you think about his introduction, sort of there in the cantina, where he's adopting that Han Solo position I think even in the same booth where he's got his feet up on the table? Did
not care for it. I don't know. It just didn't. The episode starts off nicely with the Mando in some pitched space battle. The targeting is very reminiscent of episode 4 New Hope, where he gets the enemy ship in his sights and those kind of basic vector graphics are moving around. Yeah, that's very New Hope-ish, which I quite liked. He does a bit of Top Gun. He hits the brakes and the guy flies right past.
Right.
Don't know how easy that happens in space and stuff, but I'm not a physics master. I'm not a, physician or anything, so that's fine. But nice little pitched space battle. He's set down on Tatooine. Now, again, I don't do much research on anything in life, but I did hear on the grapevine that fanboys were up in arms saying that, why are you going back to Tatooine? It's completely unnecessary and all this. I didn't mind that at all. I thought Tatooine has got a massive lineage in Star Wars. What's wrong with going back there?
Why
absolutely
not?
No problem at all, other than the sand people being way too clean. Like, where's their dirty, dusty robes? They did not. I liked seeing them, and all that sign language sequence was fantastic. But they need to be grubbed up a little bit more.
Yeah. So I don't like sand. It gets everywhere. It's the worst. Is that a quote? Something like that.
I think so.
Yeah, but Dave Filoni there, he's coming from a place where he's a massive Star Wars fanboy, just loves the lineage of it, or loves going back to the well. And he directed, I think, episode 1 as well as this one, and I think both of those two have a lot of callbacks to the original series, particularly the original trilogy. You saw it in episode 1, but also here, like with the sand people, where they're looking through the binoculars and seeing their rides that are empty, and then
banthas,
sort of the banthas, with riderless, and then cutting to sand people just next to them. But in this case, they're not beaten up on. They have a nice little bit of sign language dialogue instead.
Now, this character that they're after, so Mando's teamed up with this young gun who wants to get into the guild, and they're after this bounty, Phoenix something, I can't remember what name, Phoenix Shard or something like that.
Phoenix Shand, played by Ming-Na Wen, who's I guess most famous for being in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Never seen
as
it.
a bit of a badass sort of agent.
Okay. Is this a new character invented for Mando, or has she appeared in kind of extended Star Wars universe stuff before?
I believe she's new. I could be wrong, but in my research, I didn't find any reference to her being anywhere else.
Okay. I'm struggling to find bits that, some of the stuff was. I'm not saying it was horrendous, but I don't see why you'd ever need to watch this episode again.
Yeah, it's not the best of them. It's fairly forgettable stuff for a lot of it. You're making me think now. What was something that was the best bit in it?
Some of those callbacks, like you said. When they're looking through the binoculars and all those. I like all those little callbacks. There's people moan about this was just fan service, and at the end of the day, what's wrong with fan service? If it's for the fans, then that's fine. As long as it's not massive overkill, I don't mind. You got to give the hardcore fans something. So some of those touches you mentioned, were nice. But other than that, I don't know.
As long as it's doing its own thing, it's telling its own story, while giving that fan service at the same time, I think that's fine. Where it just gets lost in navel gazing and sort of just the serpent eating its own tail and not giving us anything new at the same time is, I think, where you can get lost. But talking of fan service, what did you think of that canteen sequence of heading back to the Mos Eisley cantina?
Yeah, that's. I thought that was good.
They're allowing droids there now, clearly, because even the bartenders are droids.
The EVD9 or whatever he's called, and also
apparently, I think from Jabba the Hutt's palace last time we saw him.
Yes, yep.
And
I think you'll fit right nicely on the Master's sail barge. But you're a feisty little one.
Easter egg here was that droid in this sequence was played by Mark Hamill.
Ah, wicked. Very nice, very nice. That's cool. Didn't know that. What also did you think was Boba Fett? Was that a Boba Fett appearance as well? When
I think it's
you see the boots and you hear the spurs.
I think it's what we're supposed to think.
Okay.
So they haven't played on it yet, but what we're hearing is that Boba Fett makes some sort of appearance in season 2. So I guess that might be laying the track ahead of that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Oh, out of time. We didn't get to talk about Amy Sedaris, who worked with Jon Favreau and Elf.
Who's that? I don't know. Well, I've manually put that in at 7 minutes because I'm bored of talking about Mando.
Okay, all right, okay. The 7-minute Mando.
The 7-minute Mando this week.
All right, okay. We didn't talk about the pit droids making a little appearance here either.
The pit droid. Which one's that?
The pit droids helping.
Oh, those tiny little things. Yeah. And she's playing poker with them. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. More Mandalorian next week. We might get to 10 minutes. We might not. Who knows? It's all about the roulette of when Chief says enough's enough.
Okay. So should we call it 10-minute Mando, or whenever Chief gets bored and decides to finish it?
The 10-minute maybe Mando is the new. Does that mean I have to record the new song again? Don't know. Yeah, we'll find out. But we've got one more thing to do before we wrap up this episode of Talking Joe, and it's who's doing it this week? I don't know. Who did it last week?
What, asking the question?
Yeah, who did the jingle thing?
You did it last time, didn't you?
All right, go on then. You do it this time.
Okay. We asked you a question. What did you say? What did you do when we asked you a question?
Nice, keeping it original, keeping it true.
Yeah.
There you go. And we did ask you a question. The question we asked was, what we're in this collecting bubble of fandom and collectomania, but it seems isolated when I talk to people. It's just I'm talking to the person who collects or the person who's into it, but we wanted to know, what about your partners of the collectors? What do they think? And it blew up. The responses blew up because people had a lot to say.
Did. There was so many reactions. It was it was really fun to see what everyone had to say.
Would you say it was a varied response across the line, or
it was varied, but I've totted them up. So I'd say that we got a mix of supported by their partners, a mixed reaction from their partners, and anti. So
okay, go on, give us the numbers.
My 5-bar gate had 18 supportive,
yes,
3 mixed, and 7 anti.
Okay.
So actually supportive is coming through on there, which is the nice thing to say. So some of the nicer supportive things were the couple of people, Gary and Jason, said that their wives are so supportive that they've actually been helping them try and track down the Target exclusives 6-inch.
Nice.
And S Jubs, talked about his dynamics and said this lovely thing: buying this stuff is like buying happiness, and it's no longer frowned upon.
Yeah.
So in the mix side of things, we had Matt talking about him just trying to sneak it into his man cave and not be noticed. I don't know if that rings any bells with anyone, Chief. And when it is noticed, the significant other saying, "Another one."
Yep.
So I think Dave said that he just gets a bit mixed reaction and a bit of an inconsistency there, that one day he'll be encouraged and the other day he'll be chastised when a parcel turns up. And there's, on the anti side, there was people talking about the fact that those vehicles take up so much room, and how do you kind of accommodate them from a space point of view. Mate Milo had a nice one, which was the X hated it, so they had to go. And I think
she had to go. I was talking about the X.
They I think multiple X's. So they had to go, being the X's rather than
what about
the
yourself, because obviously you're branching into the action figure. Well, you've got a lot of action figures anyway, but you're acquiring more. You've got a lot of comics. What's your missus's take?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say necessarily supportive. She's not one to try and enjoy the hobby with me, but will just kind of leave me to it as long as I'm staying out the way. I've got my own sort of study room.
Yes.
Keep it in there. But yeah, generally quite accommodating. We've got sort of various art prints sort of dotted around the house.
Yes.
You're
allowed that up on the walls outside of your man cave area.
Exactly, yeah. There it does sort of encroach on the rest of the house, the more tasteful pieces that she's happy with.
Nice.
and also sort of fine with me getting toys for the kids to play with them, for them to play with.
Yeah. I don't know how your brother's missus puts up with him, because he has got books overflowing through every corner of the house.
Yeah, I don't think she's necessarily very happy about it,
right.
But it is what it is. Should I just drop in on some of the other comments that we had people talking about? We had G.I. Joe Netherland just sort of thinking about being in a relationship and where you're sort of in your own place with your own space and can do what you like, but then when you're having to move in together, if that collection is taking a lot of room, it's a little bit of a quandary how that gets dealt with.
Yep.
Rock talked about keeping your wife happy by having it in your space, much as I do, and out of sight, out of mind. I think it was Jay, sorry if I've written down your name wrong, said it's this or strippers, so that just helps put it into perspective.
Yep.
Friend of the show, Jim Godfrey, said, the wife thinks I'm a half-retarded, Arrested Development, fuck-witted man-child, if we're being honest about it.
Yep.
Very honest.
There, then. Yep.
Yorktown Joe, he said she watches YouTubes about joy of minimalism, whereas meanwhile I'm reading reviews of upcoming classified releases.
You got it.
Not entirely on the same page.
I am
there,
100% there.
That's more in the chief camp of dynamic.
Yep.
We had Stephen saying, my wife is a good sport about it. She sees it as an activity that brings me joy, one I get to share with my kids. It's quality time spent with our sons, making memories. and having fun.
I'll tell you one I spotted. I think even Richard uses his wife's Facebook account.
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well done. So she must be
So,
supportive in some regard.
Exactly. And I said, either that or just in a constant state of bemusement, wondering what on earth
notifications,
was coming through in these notifications. So
Good
yeah,
stuff.
lots of lovely responses
Yes,
from everyone.
yes.
Great to see everyone getting involved and getting their takes and seeing all sides of the collecting spectrum.
Yeah. Well, we have seen that side of the collecting spectrum, but that kind of got us thinking something related to that. And we talked about partners, but what about kids? You know, not everyone who's listening is going to have kids, but they might have nephews or nieces, etc., or no kids. But what do your kids think about your man-child wannabe collectingness? Are they involved in it? Are they're collecting their own thing that's apart from what you're collecting, or do you try and get them involved in what you're doing? So we're kind of interested in that dynamic. You know, what do the kids think about your collecting?
Do you try and indoctrinate them like I try and do with my kids? Do they buy into it, or do they just not care about your personal passions at all? Do you try and share it with them, or do you keep it away and so that you can keep your collection all nice and minty, boxy fresh?
Yes. Are they allowed their mitts on them, so to speak, as in kind of like Lego Movie-ish, where
That's right.
Do you keep it away? But interesting. Let's see what we get back from that one next week. But that has been this episode of Talking Joe. It's been a good one. It's been a fast-paced, rollicking, action-packed one. You can find us in all the usual places. That is Talking_Joe on Twitter, Talking Joe Comics on Instagram, Talking Joe Comics, a G.I. Joe podcast on Facebook. Come and join that group. A lot of action going on there. And if you want to hit us an email, it's talkingjoecomics@gmail.com. Quick shout out to Sam Myers. Got an email from him. Very nice. Thank you, buddy. Keep up the good work. But, I think with all that said and done,
You can catch us down the road.
we've been Talking Joe.
And we're all out of Joes.
See you later, people.
Yo, Joe.